Let's go ahead and get this started. Richardae, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. I'm not sure how many of our listeners today are really aware of the Office of Minority Health and Health Equity, and specifically what you guys are doing to advance diversity in clinical trials. So maybe you could start us off by telling us a little bit about that department or that office and the work that you do there.
Sure. Thank you, Ed, and good afternoon, everyone. It's truly a pleasure to be here and great to serve on the panel with Cassandra and Robin. And just to provide a little bit of background about the Office of Minority Health and Health Equity. So our office was established at FDA in 2010, and we were actually at that point the Office of Minority Health. And in 2019, our name changed to the Office of Minority Health and Health Equity. We are really excited about our new name. We really think that it helps to highlight the scope of the work that we have historically performed and what we will continue to do, which is working to protect and promote the health of diverse populations by really focusing our efforts in two key areas, and that's research and outreach and communication that works towards addressing health disparities. And of course, we also work broadly across the agency, as well as working very closely with our public and private sector stakeholders. And as you can imagine, a key priority area for us is working to advance the participation of racial and ethnic minority groups in clinical trials. And this is really important because we know that clinical trials provide a crucial base of evidence for evaluating whether a medical product is safe and effective. And we always highlight that enrollment in trials should reflect the diversity of those who are ultimately going to use the product. And that's important because we know that persons of different ages and races and ethnicities, for example, they may react differently to certain medical products. So we really think it's important that clinical trial participants reflect those who are most likely to use the product so that the data can be appropriately analyzed and meaningful information can be communicated to the public. Of course, FDA has long worked to advance diverse participation in clinical trials, from hosting public meetings, developing tools, as well as issuing guidance documents. And to highlight some of the specific efforts of the Office of Minority Health and Health Equity, we have really worked to provide education, especially education to the diverse communities that we serve, as well as to our stakeholders. And a couple years ago, actually quite a number of years ago, we established our Diversity in Clinical Trials initiative. And this initiative includes an ongoing multimedia campaign. And again, the focus of many of our efforts have been in the space of raising awareness and education. And this campaign really works to provide positive reinforcements through education and multimedia to help address some of the barriers preventing diverse populations from participating in clinical trials through a variety of different culturally and linguistically competent strategies, tools, and resources. And I'll highlight some of the resources that we've developed, but just to give you a little bit more background, our goal was really to make sure that across all of our tools and resources, we're highlighting what a clinical trial is, what it means to participate, and why it's important for us to have diverse participation. So for example, we have educational materials, we have fact sheets, brochures, postcards available in multiple languages that all highlight the value of clinical trial participation. We have public service announcements and videos, and we engage in social media outreach, again, across multiple languages so that we can encourage different groups to participate. We also have ongoing outreach to engage different communities, health professionals, working to raise awareness among the communities. And another area that has been really important for us, and this is really because when you think about the barriers to participation, we know those barriers cross multiple sectors. So it's really been important for us to make sure that we have close collaborations, partnerships, and engagements across all of our stakeholders. So of course, we work with public and private sector stakeholders. We work across government. We work with academia, with industry, among a number of others, to educate consumers, educate our communities about the importance of diverse participation in clinical trials. And as I mentioned, this is an ongoing campaign. We're always working to add new tools and resources. And one of the resources that we most recently added, and this just actually came out a couple weeks ago, we worked with our Center for Devices and Radiological Health, and we released a device clinical trials video. And this was really exciting because not only did it offer an opportunity for us to provide education on device clinical trials, what is a device, but also to really highlight the importance of diverse participation in device clinical trials. And all of our tools and resources that we developed are available on our dedicated webpage on clinical trial diversity on the FDA website. So again, one of our goals is really to make sure that we're always advancing this campaign, adding new tools and resources so that we can really work to educate our stakeholders in our community. And one other thing that I'll mention briefly, of course, when I talked about the fact that we think partnerships and collaborations are very important, I did want to highlight some of our stakeholder engagement activities because this has been important for us so that we can work more broadly in our efforts. So just to highlight a couple, this is of course not all, but we have of course worked with the Clinical Trials Transformation Initiative, or CTTI. They have a diversity project, and CTTI is a public-private partnership co-founded by Duke University and FDA. We also worked with the Multi-Regional Clinical Trials Center, or MRCT, in Harvard on their diversity work group, and they recently released their Achieving Diversity, Inclusion, and Equity in Clinical Research, or diversity framework. And we also have other types of collaborations through memorandums of understanding. We have one, for example, with Yale School of Medicine, and that was really for us to have the opportunity to engage with their Cultural Ambassador program. And this is an engagement of community partners to increase diverse participation in clinical research. And then lastly, I'll also highlight another MOU that we have, and that's with the Alliance of Multicultural Physicians. And this has been really important because it's an opportunity for us to engage with 5 of the kind of major minority physician associations. And all of these efforts, of course, provide opportunities for us to continue to work to advance diverse participation in clinical research.